American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. Israel and Iran have exchanged missile fire, marking the most serious escalation since the ceasefire began 2 months ago. Israeli authorities say 3 waves of Iranian missiles targeted the country on Monday. Explosions were heard in central Israel as air defenses intercepted the fire. Retired 4-star General Jack Keane says Iran has repeated the same pattern over and over.
When the Iranians fired 11 ballistic missiles into Israel, that was a development since the April 8th general ceasefire. And certainly from Israel's perspective, any one of those missiles, if it penetrated, could kill hundreds of people. So there's no way that they can accept something like that. And they obviously retaliated in kind. But when you draw back from this, we went to a general ceasefire on April the 8th. And who has been violating that ceasefire? Iran began, but violations right there in the Straits of Hormuz. Fast boats, drones interfering with traffic. We have defeated every single one of those.
The counting continues after the primary election in California, including key races for governor and Los Angeles mayor. Doug Luzader with more.
With the race for governor, which will come down to the top 2 candidates in last week's primary. Democrat Javier Becerra has advanced to one of those slots in the November election, we think, but with just 72% of ballots accounted at this point. It is still a contest for second place between Republican Steve Hilton, who's now in the lead, over Democrat Tom Steyer, and Hilton is frustrated at how long this is taking. And the race for L.A. mayor, even closer. Incumbent Karen Bass will advance, but she's facing a runoff because she could not muster 50% of the vote. And this is a real horse race now to challenge her in the general election.
President Trump has been happy with positive reviews on the job market and the economy since he took office for his second term. The May jobs report released by the Labor Department Friday shows over 172,000 new jobs were added to the U.S. economy, and the unemployment rate stayed at 4.3%. The president, in a pre-taped interview on NBC's Meet the Press, says it's unfair that once the market does well, that interest rates go up.
It should be the opposite way. You know, if you go back 15 or 20 years, when you had good reports, the market went up. Nowadays, when you have good reports, the market goes down because they think they're going to raise interest rates. There's no reason to raise interest rates.
A court in Nebraska recently put an end to a rule that allowed illegal aliens to get in-state tuition at the University of Nebraska. Caleb Castile has more.
Back in 1996, Congress passed the Immigration Act that stated if a state's colleges and universities were to offer in-state tuition to illegal immigrants, they had to do the same for any U.S. citizen, regardless of their home state. However, according to the Higher Ed Immigration Portal, 21 states and Washington, D.C. provide in-state tuition to the state's undocumented students. States have been able to get around this rule by creating a clause that allows for anyone who's completed 3 years of high school in the state to get access to in-state tuition. Recently, a federal judge in Nebraska made a ruling to end said clause in the Cornhusker state. Ira Melman is the media director for the Federation for American Immigration Reform. He says that most middle-class families across the nation cannot afford the prices at private institutions, and thus, in order to get a higher education, they must send their children to state universities.
But these are seats at these state universities that are highly valued, that could be filled by American students who also need the education.
Texas has also reached a similar deal with the Trump administration, and Oklahoma did the same last summer. However, not every state is ruling the same on the issue, with a federal judge in Minnesota tossing the challenge based on the 3 years of high school being enough to qualify for the exemption. Melman says that due to the different lower courts ruling differently, there's a possibility that this ends up in the U.S. Supreme Court.
The courts do look at intent. The intent was to bar states from offering tuition benefits to illegal aliens that they were not prepared to offer to any other U.S. citizen.
I'm Caleb Castile.
Wall Street is clawing back some of its steep losses from last week. Oil prices, meanwhile, are higher today following fighting between Israel and Iran. At this hour, the S&P 500 up 0.7%, following a 2.6% drop from Friday. The Dow has added 207 points, and the Nasdaq Composite climbed 1.1%. More news available online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Pugh.
Hey friends, I want to invite you to our Call to Care Equipping event on Saturday, June 13th in Plano, Texas. If you're a ministry leader, a pastor, counselor, or someone who feels called to help others, this is the event for you. Our theme this year is From Hurt to Hope. You can join us in person or online, so sign up today at hopefortheheart.org/events or text the word event to 70919 to learn more.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Today's Monday, June the 8th, 2026. As always, we thank you for listening to AFR. Joining me in studio today is Wesley Wildmon. Good morning, Wesley.
Good morning. Not always, very rarely on Mondays.
No, you're substituting for Fred Vitagliano.
I've done my stretching.
It's a big Italian shoes to fill.
Yeah, I did my reading, and I ate my pizza.
Oh, right. Well, then you're good to go. Right here on this show. Pizza already this morning?
They're filling in for Ed. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see the ethnic stereotype there with the Italian and pizza.
No,
Fred Jackson, good
listening.
morning, Fred.
Good morning to you.
So we have a bit of music to introduce this segment with that neither one of these gentlemen were aware of, and there's a reason we're going to play this. Let's cue it up. Go ahead.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jacks.
That is the baseball song, basically, folks. And Wesley Wildmon, my son here, and co-host of the show, took his youth baseball team, 10 years old, down to play in the state championship. I say down to the Jackson area, Pearl, Mississippi, and came away with a championship, right?
That's right. We won. It was spread out. It was a long weekend, a lot of teams, and of course, you got to win. You know, they break it up into where you play on one day, and then they seed you and put you in a bracket, and then it's single elimination. And when it was all said and done, from Friday to Sunday, we won 6 consecutive games and had some real nail biters in the last 3. They were all won by 1 run, so we could have gone either way. But yeah,
I told you to win 3 one-run games. You must be living right.
That's right. Yeah. Well, we do things the right way. I'm proud of the boys. Yeah. They work. The team that I coach, they're local boys for the most part. 8 of the 10 I've been coaching them since they were 6 years old. So there's a lot of chemistry and camaraderie there, and we do things the right way. In fact, we do one thing that no other team that I've seen does. And this is very fitting because of the 250-year. I pay the kid.
That's good. No, I'm
the 250-year anniversary coming up. We do the national anthem for our team individually with our group of boys, off to the side at the beginning of each day.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And we carry our own American flag in there. We have our own music box, and we'll play it there, and we do it in the corner. So
yeah,
we are living right. Okay?
Yeah.
You got me started there.
Well, that's okay. Yeah. I just wanted to, say congratulations to the Tupelo Rangers, 10-year-old state champions.
There you go.
Coached by
congratulations.
Coached by none other than head coach Wesley Wildmon. So congratulations.
Well, thank you for that. And
people who play sports, people who play in youth sports of any kind, know that it's very, very hard to win a tournament. Period.
Mm-hmm.
But then to win a state title, is a
long road.
Well, put it this way: there's one team happy.
Yes. That's right.
At the end of the day, and then there's everybody else is disappointed their season ended in a loss. But anyway,
well, what a great song. We had Cracker Jacks on there too.
You did? Oh, okay.
It took some Cracker Jacks.
Cracker Jacks.
But nowadays sunflower seeds are the thing. Cracker Jacks were the thing when that song was written.
Well, that's true. That song's probably 70, 80 years old. I don't know how long that is. Take me out to the ball game. I call it the baseball song, basically. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks.
But at the expense of my nose.
Oh yeah.
For those that can't see, my nose is. I forgot sunscreen.
Your nose and the sun fought, and your nose lost.
That's it. It was about 7 hours on the ball field, off and on, just on Sunday alone, and I didn't wear any sunscreen, and I'm feeling it.
Well, did you wear a hat that covered your face?
I had a hat, but it wasn't good enough.
Well, there are a lot of people screaming in the radio right now saying, "Hey, you better take care of that, or you'll have skin cancer
That's
when you're
right.
55." So
That
anyway,
crossed my mind, so
you understand that.
I'm going to do better.
All right, do better. All right, thank you for listening to today's issues again, Fred.
Yeah.
You have a good weekend.
Had a wonderful weekend. We are building a shed in our backyard. So it was lots of hard work. We had to lay down a foundation, and then it's a shed that's come in a box.
Okay.
All right, what now? Shed in a box?
Shed in a box. And
do that nowadays.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
5 by 8 roughly. But the real hard work is getting that base done properly. And so that's what we were doing.
That'll preach your
Saturday
foundation being
afternoon.
important.
Mighty important.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife is the foreman on this project, and she's doing a great job.
Yeah.
Now, how many breaks did y'all take in between? Because you're not in a hurry here, are you?
No, not in a hurry. Well, the foreman would like to have it done within a week.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But no, she's doing a great job.
That's great.
The only question I have for you there is, why'd you wait till summer to do this?
Well, it was associated with my birthday, which was last week.
Okay.
So it's a gift.
Yes, the boxes arrived on my birthday or thereabouts. So
All right. What's our first news story?
you know, it's really interesting. Wesley, you mentioned about your team and playing the national anthem before each of your games. Really interesting. I just posted a story before coming into the studio. This is a brand new AP NORC poll. AP NORC, very credible. The headline is this: fewer Americans say democracy is central to country's identity. I invite you folks to go and have a read to this story. One of the central parts of this is young people under age 30 have a viewpoint. Number one, that this isn't the best country in the world, but also that democracy doesn't work. About 3 in 10 say there are better countries than the U.S., and that's an increase from 19% that was done about 10 years ago. And this says young adults, as I say, under 30, about 4 in 10, 44% of U.S. adults under 30 say there are other countries better than the U.S. The other aspect to this is really interesting. There's a great divide between Republicans and Democrats on this issue. And you can guess, Republicans much more proud of their country, much more adhering to democracy as being central to the traditions and the strength of this country versus Democrats. And so the question then becomes, particularly along that youth divide, what is going on? What are our kids being taught or not being taught? And that's what's being reflected in this poll. And we've seen it. We've seen the demonstrations. We've seen the attacks, even against conservatism, verbally attacks, but also attacks judicially speaking, all of those sorts of things. So this is a very interesting poll, folks, but it does go to what our kids are being taught at a very young age. Why do they have this idea that, number one, this country is not, there are countries better than this country, and that democracy doesn't work?
Yeah, that's disturbing.
It is.
That poll, because we have always had a good sense of patriotism in our countries, among our youth.
Mm-hmm.
And what were the age? Is these teenagers? What
30 and under.
Oh, 30 and under.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? The 30 and under have been bombarded with negative stories about the United States, our own country, in the media, also the educational system in this country has been
entertainment.
The entertainment industry,
the music,
all pop culture, all that's been very anti-American for the last, 10 to 20 years. It's been very anti-American. We used to have a common pride in our country.
Yeah, we'd stand and put our heart our hand over our heart for the national anthem at sporting events, and now we're kneeling.
Yeah, Yes, yeah. So I mean, I think there's been a definite effort to undermine our. You know what? We all understand that a country as big as the United States is not going to be perfect in every aspect all the time, and also
Or even agree, obviously, on
yes,
big
we're going to
issues
have
at time.
disagreements. Liberal, conservative, Republican, Democrat, but the fundamentals of what the United States is as a country should be celebrated
Right.
and has been celebrated because there is no other country in the world that has the amount of freedom that we have for people to live their lives and the economic prosperity and our way of life, our medical system, our the people, everybody,
Liberty.
liberty, education, again, freedom.
It really wasn't until
It's the best. My dad always said, your grandfather always said that the free enterprise system, which has been the hallmark of the United States economy, provides the best for the most.
Yeah.
Provides the best for the most. That's why people come here from around the world and are desperate to come to the United States.
It really is. It hasn't been until except for the last 10 years,
right,
to where even sporting events become polarized, political, and a division. Used to, up until the last 10 years. Prior to that, I'm getting to the point. I'm late 30s, early 40s, and I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to live long enough to say back in my childhood.
Right.
But I can look back, and you used to go to a sporting event, and there was no political image on anybody, and you would have sit. I'm sure you'd sit by a Democrat or a Republican would.
Right.
Or a Republican would sit by a Democrat, or a Democrat would sit by a Republican. They share the same hot dog and talk about the football game or the baseball game. Sporting event, and there was no tension for any reason. But now we're getting to the point because of as we've and a lot of and it really amped up during COVID. It really amped up
Well, the anyway. So Fred, that's that's
we're going to be getting reaction to this today. But you know what? Thinking about we've been scratching our heads now for the last year. How could New York City vote in a communist,
Muslim,
an avowed communist
as mayor without apology?
Right.
I mean, so we wonder how could that happen in the United States?
Yeah.
And this perhaps poll gives us an indication that our young people, in particular, are being indoctrinated.
So what is the essence? What are the findings of the poll again?
Fewer Americans say democracy is central to the country's identity.
I wonder what the people who would say what is their alternative that they would support if not democracy? By democracy, I define that as people voting for their leaders.
That group primarily is going to lean heavily on socialism.
Yes.
That's their answer. Now there's from there we know where socialism leads to and ends up with communism and communism and dictatorship.
Totalitarianism.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's the direction, but that 100% socialism. That's going to be that group.
But these young people are just trusting what they're being told.
That's right.
By their professors and by their teachers and
by the media, a lot of the media.
But I often say I wish I could transport somebody who's endorsing this idea of socialism to communism.
To some of these countries.
I want to take you down to Cuba for a week. Have a look around there.
Yeah.
You choose.
Yeah, I think the people who are saying this who live in the United States have no context.
No.
For, in other words, you're right. Let's drop them off in Cuba. How about China?
For me, it was India. That changed because China, and theirs is a caste system, a little different.
India,
but I've now been to 5 different countries, and by the time my week's up, I'm ready to come back to the States.
Right.
So
yeah, it's interesting to me too is these people who say that we are a systemically racist country, for example, and we live on stolen land and all this. They're the same people who say hey, everybody, come to the United States and live here.
Yeah. Open up the border.
Open up the border so everybody can come here.
Man.
I'm going, wait a minute. You just said we're a systemically racist country, and yet you want to invite people to live here?
Yes.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, people are breaking into the country.
To get here.
Why?
Right. Why? Because it's the greatest country on earth still today, and I don't say that in an arrogant American way.
In an exceptional way.
Yeah, I just say that we the United States are still the most charitable country in all the world. We help many people in the world to no benefit of our own.
Yeah.
And always have, especially the American Christian community.
Yes.
So you 30 and under, you take that.
Yeah, that's right. I hope that changes.
Me too.
Because that's now a lot of people are idealistically
based on their age,
and they get to be 40 and they got 3 kids and they're going, why am I being taxed to death? Or
sure.
You know what I'm saying? Why don't anyway? There's a lot of things that change in people's perspective from the time they're 20 and single to the time they're 35, 40 and have 3 kids. So. All right, you're listening to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Next story, Fred.
Well, let's go to the Middle East. During the weekend, early on in the weekend, President Trump said once again he felt a deal would be announced by either today or tomorrow to kind of end things with Iran. But then you probably woke up yesterday morning and through the day yesterday and early this morning, and you found out that for the first time in 2 or 3 weeks, Iran and Israel exchanged missiles. Iran attacked Israel first over the weekend, saying was in return for Israel defending itself against Hezbollah terrorists in Lebanon. So they go back and forth. And then as that story developed, we had President Trump saying Israel, basically, I'm paraphrasing here, you need to back off because you're disturbing the negotiations that I want to take place, which he believes will lead to some kind of settlement. Now, a lot of people are weighing in. Is there going to be a satisfactory settlement, in quotation marks, in this? And one of those is K.T. McFarland. She's a former national security advisor. She says President Trump has to face a reality if he's going to come out of this battle with Iran with a win. Cut number 2.
Iran is fractured. The leadership is fractured. They have the moderates and the so-called pragmatist moderates and then the crazies. It's really just they have the crazies and then they have the craziers. And the craziers are the IRGC. And so every time the moderates seem to come up with some kind of an agreement, a ceasefire agreement, a potential peace plan, it's the extremists, it's the IRGC that sabotages it, doing all the attacks that you've just outlined. So what's the end solution? Can you trust them? Absolutely not. Even if you've got an agreement with Iran, the extremists, the IRGC would probably sabotage it. So what do you need to do? You need to prevent their ability to break the agreement. Can't not just verify, not just make sure they're doing it, but to have an absolute ability to stop them from breaking the agreement. How do you do that? I think you're right. You ultimately have to go in and finish the military targets, not the energy targets, not the other things, but the military targets.
And K.T. McFarland is not the only one saying that. Retired General Jack Keane, who, if you watch Fox, you often see him on there. He was on there again this morning. He says the same thing. You can't trust the Iranians. You can't trust their word. You have to finish the job. You have to cripple them. And Keane, McFarland, others are saying, you've got to go take your bombing planes and go back in there and finish the job.
And I want to ask a question here, and I kind of got my own thoughts on this, but I want to get y'all's opinion, and then I'll share mine after y'all's.
Okay.
I'm playing it real safe here. If President Trump says he's in charge of or taking point or leading the negotiation like from a dominant position, yet he's relying on another country to do what another country tells them to do and enforce it. In this case, let's just use names. So it seems to me like Iran or Hamas and Iran are together, one and the same kind of attacking Israel, and it's Trump's responsibility based on some negotiation with Trump or United States and Iran to stop Israel from doing whatever they're doing. How is that him in charge of? You see what I'm saying?
Well, go ahead, Fred, and then I'll answer it.
Well, what I was gathering from Trump's comments on the weekend, that he saw what was going on between Israel and Iran. Let me back up. Israel is just defending itself. The bad guys always initiate the attacks. Hezbollah initiated the attack
on the north, part of Israel.
Iran this weekend initiated the attack. Israel has a right to defend itself.
Right.
Why would President Trump then paint Israel as interfering with the negotiations? Israel is simply defending itself.
Right. And that's going to my point, is irregardless of whether Israel defends itself or even if it doesn't, that shouldn't have anything to do, if President Trump and the United States are in charge, that should have nothing to do with meaning the United States, personal negotiation with Iran. Even if they do or don't do their thing, you could easily say, well, Israel's going to, defend themselves or not or whatever. This is between the United States and Iran as far as negotiating the deal, if you're really in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so President Trump's comments over the weekend that bothered me the most, I don't know, do we have the audio of I Call the Shots?
No.
He was doing an interview. I forgot. Do you know who he's doing an interview with?
No, but I can help. I'll pull it up.
So, the Financial Times, it was a telephone interview. Financial Times is a pretty well-respected news service, okay? And President Trump was being asked about Israel and their war with Hezbollah. I know people get the H's confused sometimes. Hamas is a terrorist organization within Gaza on the south part of Israel. They're funded by Iran, have been for years. Hezbollah is a similar type terrorist organization on the northern border of Israel. Their military operations, their terrorist operations are in the country of Lebanon, even though Lebanon doesn't seem to be able to stop them.
Right.
So the Hezbollah has been firing rockets and fighting into the country of Israel. Israel's defending itself, fighting back with overwhelming force so they can stop the attacks. So that's why, okay, it gets complicated. Iran, some 1,500 miles away, is saying to the United States, you need to stop Israel from fighting back against Hezbollah. This is where President Trump makes a bad mistake.
That's the point I was making.
This is where he makes a mistake. Trump then goes out and says this weekend that, quote, I call the shots. I call the shots. He doesn't call the shots. Talking about Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the leader of Israel. In other words, Benjamin Netanyahu will do what I tell him to do because I call the shots. I found that to be very offensive if I'm Benjamin Netanyahu and even the country of Israel, to be basically emasculated.
While in war.
Yes. President Trump really... We'll finish this conversation when we get back from the break. You're listening to Today's Issues on American Family Radio.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildmon.
The Bible contains the story of David and Bathsheba. Bathsheba was the very beautiful wife of Uriah, a soldier in David's army. David's desire for Bathsheba was so great that David arranged for Uriah to be in the front charge of the next battle, where the chance of his death would be great. Well, after Uriah died fighting for David, David took Bathsheba to be his wife. When David's preacher Nathan confronted him with this evil deed, David longed for forgiveness. You will find in Psalm 51 David's cry for forgiveness. What is forgiveness? What is this thing David longed for? Well, forgiveness is a cleansing of the soul. Create a pure heart in me, God, was David's plea. Forgiveness is a clean heart. It was the prophet Isaiah who said, though your sins are like scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they are red like crimson, they shall become as wool. Forgiveness is becoming clean in our heart. William Cowper, the English poet, expressed quite beautifully what forgiveness is. These are the words he penned. There is a fountain filled with blood, drawn from Emmanuel's veins, and sinners plunged beneath the flood lose all their guilty stains. Now the next question is this: how can one receive forgiveness? The answer is basically quite simple. First, one must forgive those who have wronged him. This is necessary to get his heart conditioned for forgiveness. Then, all that is necessary to receive forgiveness is to ask for it. Now, it may seem strange that the prerequisite for forgiveness to be received is that forgiveness must be given, but such is the case. Jesus taught, "For if you forgive others the wrongs they have done you, your Father in heaven will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive the wrongs of others, then your Father will not forgive the wrongs you have done." The best way one can get even with another who has wronged him is to forgive. Forgiveness may seem a strange way to get even, but if you doubt the wisdom of the statement, then try it. There isn't enough room in your heart for both revenge and love. One of them will have to go. Give love a chance, and it will drive revenge out. Several years after his affair with Bathsheba, David was seriously wronged by his son Absalom. But David was quick to forgive his son. Perhaps the reason that David forgave Absalom so quickly was that he had already experienced God's forgiveness. You know, guilt can weigh heavy on a person's heart. It can cause him no end of anxiety and worry. It can severely tax the physical health of the human body. But the good news is that there is a release for guilt. There is a place where we can deposit our guilt and leave it, and that place is with God. If you want forgiveness, first of all, forgive those who have wronged you. Then ask for God's forgiveness in a sincere way, and forgiveness is yours. Just remember that the only sin for which you cannot find forgiveness is the sin which you fail to ask forgiveness for.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildmon, a production of the American Family Association.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Wildmon, president of American Family Association and American Family Radio. Hey, we are announcing 2 tours coming up in 2027, March of 2027. We're going to Greece and we're going to Italy. The Greece tour we call the Footsteps of Paul, and you're going to follow the footsteps of St. Paul in the country of Greece. And then the Italian tour, the tour of Italy, Venice, Florence, Pisa, Rome. We're calling the Make Lasagna Great Again tour. And these are coming up in March of 2027. And if you want to read all about them, the itinerary, the cost, everything you need to know about these tours coming up in March of Greece and Italy, go to tours.afa.net. That's tours.afa.net. We're going to have a lot of fun, a lot of good fellowship, and see some of the most historic and iconic sites in the world.
We give thanks to God always for all of you, constantly mentioning you in our prayers, remembering before our God and Father your work of faith and labor of love and steadfastness of hope in our Lord Jesus Christ. 1 Thessalonians 1:3.
American Family Radio. This is Today's Issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of Today's Issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of Today's Issues.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Thanks for listening to AFR. Tim, Wesley, and Fred. We hope you had a great weekend. Joining us now is our good friend and our colleague, Dr. Alex McFarland, host of Exploring the Word, heard each afternoon at 3 o'clock Central Time, 3:05 to be precise, Central Time on American Family Radio. Exploring the Word is a live radio Bible study, basically. And so Alex and Brother Bert Harper take you through the scriptures every afternoon to encourage you along your Christian walk. And so, Alex, good morning to you.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, Alex, before we got several topics we want to go over with you. But first of all, we were talking about the relationship between the United States and Israel is strained right now. I think because we were talking about President Trump said over the weekend, he was talking to the Financial Times, that he said that the article I'm reading says United States President Trump said Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu would have to, quote, no choice but to accept any nuclear agreement negotiated between Washington and Tehran. This is quoting President Trump, quote, he, talking about Netanyahu, won't have any choice. Trump told the Financial Times in a telephone interview, I call the shots. I call all the shots. He doesn't call the shots, end of quote. And Fred and I were just talking with Wesley, you know, President Trump has had a good relationship with Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu, but this is different. He is demeaning Benjamin Netanyahu, and he's, I call it emasculating him publicly in front of the world by saying that he does what I tell him to do. Should President Trump be talking like that publicly?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think that's a good posture for any U.S. president, and I don't think it helps international relations at all.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the way I see it, and you guys disagree. I don't think you will, but let's just say, let's put it this way. You have a house, a home, and your home is being pelted by rocks. Okay, let's just say this. And you go out to defend yourself and fire rocks back to fend off the enemy, and then your neighbor across the street says, no, I'll tell you what to do because I have more money than you, and I have a bigger house than you, and I'm more famous than you are, so I'll tell you when you can defend yourself and when you can't defend yourself, because I'm negotiating with the people that are throwing rocks.
Yes, that's right.
At your house. That's what's going on here. I know that wasn't a very good analogy, but you see what's happening here. I just think, I don't know, President Trump it seems to me, Fred and Alex and Wesley, it seems to me that President Trump is stuck with this Iran war, doesn't know what to do. He would never admit anything like that. Doesn't know what to do or what the exactly right thing to do is. And it sounds like to me he's sort of wanting to blame Israel for not being able to end the situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Alex, and then Fred, and then Wesley.
Yeah, I think that's probably very accurate, Tim. I really do.
Yeah.
And, the sticky wicket is that, Iran has such a history of concealing their activities, concealing nuclear sites. And, I know this some people wouldn't like this, but I think the Islamic nations, especially Iran, I mean, if there's one thing that you can depend on, it's that they will not keep their word about peace agreements and treaties.
That's why a lot of people think President Trump's being played.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think Iran right now is looking at the situation. They know that President Trump, there's going to be an election in a few months. Iran knows that Trump is under great pressure because of gas prices and grocery prices, all that sort of thing. But Iran also knows, if anybody doesn't think there were discussions between Iran and the Hezbollah leadership about attacking Israel, and then Iran on the weekend decides, after 2 or 3 weeks of not bombing Israel, to begin bombing Israel again. They knew Israel would respond. Of course they would respond to being attacked.
Right, they have to, or they're dead.
And then Iran comes back and says, okay, we're going to break off negotiations because of what those bad Israelis are doing.
Yeah, Iran is telling Trump, you stop Israel, and then we'll talk.
Which is what...
And Trump's saying, okay. That's what it sounds like.
And I couldn't quite... It's hard to articulate what I was trying to say in the first segment, but that's the point I was trying to make is who's really in charge here if Iran's telling us, United States, you deal with this first and we'll get back to the table.
Yeah, it also puts Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, in a tough spot because he wants to be supportive of President Trump. He wants to be friends of President Trump. Israel does get a lot of money from the United States. There's no question about that. Benjamin Netanyahu said a couple weeks ago or a month ago, we want to wean ourselves from American financial aid.
Mm-hmm.
So that is all true. But for Trump to say he'll do what I tell him to do is just, when he's trying to defend his country against terrorism, is just, well, it's just a terrible thing to do and to say. As I said earlier, emasculate is the word I used. He's I don't know, Benjamin Netanyahu, what's he supposed to say? I don't know what he'll say if he says anything because it would put he didn't want to get into an open verbal war with the President of the United States. The United States of America has always been Israel's top ally and supporter, and quite frankly, within the United States, the Christian community has always been Israel's #1 supporter. So, and oddly enough, the Christian community have been widely supported by President Trump since 2016. That's no secret. So it puts some division there, I think unnecessarily so, between President Trump and the Christian community in America who supports Israel when Trump is demeaning Israel publicly. Yeah. Is that wrap it up right there?
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
You're listening to today's issues on American Family Radio. Hopefully somebody will get in President Trump's ear and tell him he needs to not do this anymore because it's not helpful. Fred, you had a story you wanted to ask Alex about?
Yeah, Alex, on our website, afn.net, just put up a story before coming into the studio. This is a poll, an AP NORC poll, fairly accurate poll. The headline is this: fewer Americans say democracy is central to the country's identity. We were discussing this earlier. The poll makes note that young adults are much less likely than older Americans to believe the U.S. is special compared to other nations. That's what the poll found. It said about 4 in 10, 44% of U.S. adults under 30 say there are other countries better than the U.S. So we were having a discussion, Alex, and would love your views on this. What's going on in the minds of our young people? Where are they getting the idea that there are countries far better, far freer than the United States?
Yeah, well, this is dangerous. And, whenever I see a headline like this, that, democracy is central to our identity, I have to throw in that we're not strictly a democracy. We're a representative republic, a Judeo-Christian representative republic. But I realize, democracy, that one voice, one vote. One of the concerning realities for a decade at least is that more and more younger people and younger adults have been enamored with socialism. And it's almost like this superficial empathy. Well, housing cost and food cost, and the American dream is just financially out of reach for so many people. So, and then you've got, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and billionaires. How is it just that billionaires exist when I can't afford a car payment? That's kind of the reasoning. But let me say this, I don't use the term capitalism alone. I'll say principled capitalism. Capitalism in a moral context has done more to provide for people and better the human condition. We must help young people understand that socialism, Marxism, communism always worsens the human condition over the long pull, not betters it. And I got to say this, guys, and feel free to jump in. When you've got more and more Americans saying that democracy is not important and there are 30 countries better than America, it's just borderline treasonous that public education, K through 12 schooling, and of course secular universities and the pop media and the talking heads on The View and Jimmy Kimmel and Colbert. I mean, they for years and years have denigrated America. So we've got a lot of young people that have never lived in an America where people would be on record affirming and valuing America and lifting up America, just trashing America. And then, it's a little surprised that
all the while getting a pretty good paycheck from America.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know what kills me about when people go after billionaires like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and others. Listen, those billionaires that you're talking about, their companies provide a lot of jobs.
Exactly.
For a lot of Americans who may, you know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of it is class envy and class warfare, which is not American, by the way. Yeah. So I think that they're going after the millionaires, and by the way, millionaires, $1 million ain't what it used to be. I don't have it, but that's what I'm told. You're listening to Today's Issues. Tell us about your summer camps for youth.
Oh, thanks. Well, last week in Montana, we had several dozen teenagers pray to accept Christ. We had 130 people in Montana. And next week...
There's that many people in Montana?
Yeah. It's 137.
Okay.
And I want to say big kudos to a lot of Christian moms in Gillette, Wyoming, who listen to American Family Radio. And 4 years ago, they got the idea that we should do a camp out there. And so we were at a gorgeous place called Trails End Christian Ranch. This is our 4th summer there. And many of the Wyoming, South Dakota, Montana kids have come 2 and 3 summers to learn biblical worldview. And we've had salvations and a lot of kids that are just very committed.
Are all your camps sold out?
They really are. The one, in fact, we've had a waiting list at most of the camps. The one that might have some vacancy would be in Brevard, North Carolina. Brevard is going to be in August. But, yeah, we're pretty much on a waiting list basis for we're going to be in Florida. We're going to be in Pennsylvania. We're going to be in Walker, Iowa. Isn't that a great name for a town, Walker?
Yeah. Walker, Iowa. When is that?
June
is that
14th
sold out?
Through, June 14th through 19. Now, Brevard, August 2 through 7. And that's in western North Carolina. And by the way, I'm at all of these camps along with longtime volunteers and colleagues. One gentleman that is a friend of more than 20 years, Carl Kirby. I've had him on the Hamilton Corner many times. He's one of the greatest creation speakers in the world.
I know Carl.
Yeah, Carl is fantastic. Mm-hmm. And But things are going good. Right now, I'm in Elkin, North Carolina. We had a Revive U.S. event. Tim, I started a 2-year tour. I call it Revive U.S., and we go over the big questions people are asking about God, Christianity, the relationship of Christianity and America. And we had packed house morning and night at Pleasant Hill Baptist Church yesterday. By the way, I'll be there if you're in this is Boone, North Wilkesboro, Elkin, Pleasant Hill Baptist, 7 p.m. tonight through Wednesday. And tomorrow night is open Q&A. You can ask anything. I'll do my best to give you a biblical answer. But everywhere we go, people hear about our events and our camps through AFR. And Tim, I'm deeply grateful.
Amen. Dr. Alex McFarland has joined us here this morning, and we wish you the best with those. Alex, we'll pray for you and talk to you next time.
Right on. God bless you, and God bless America.
Okay, thank you very much. You're listening to today's issues on American Family Radio. Did he just say right on?
I think he did.
I think that's straight out of the 70s.
Right on.
Huh? Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah, well, I know you don't.
I'm kidding.
Right
no,
on.
I've heard that before.
I think
right on.
That's a 70s slogan or saying. Seemed like it was one of those, was it?
Had a big commercial. That's usually where they start.
Anyway, yeah.
Good commercial.
All right, Fred, what's your next story there for us?
You know, we talked about the mayor of New York City, Zoran Mamdani. And you know what's happening, you know, they're electing a communist like him, and it's interesting. He is down on police. Doesn't like police. Just a little check mark here. Doesn't like police. He's anti-Jewish. Remember, he did first mayor not to go to that parade celebrating Israel the other day, and he doesn't like ICE, the immigration enforcement people.
Right.
In fact, in an interview on the weekend, he thinks ICE should be abolished. Now, these are the people who protect our borders, who, you know, they come under Homeland Security because there are bad people out there that want to do bad things to America. But Zoran Mamdani says ICE should go. Here's a little bit of what he had to say in this interview on the weekend, cut number 9.
I have put forward a vision alongside so many others to say that ICE should be abolished. I think it's time to develop a new vision for this party, one that is unflinching in its beliefs and also uncompromising in its principles.
Yeah, a new vision for his party. He's Democrat. So what does he mean by that?
Well, I think a lot of Democrats don't believe in national borders anyway.
That's right. Yeah.
Go ahead. So I think that's what he's talking about is we do away with ICE. They're the ICE stands for Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So if you're here illegally, ICE would be the ones who would be finding you and deporting you and detaining you and deporting you. And so I think he's not for borders. He's for anybody who wants to come to America should be allowed to come here and stay. That's the basic belief of the left wing of the Democrat Party, which is becoming more of their more numbers of them. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that for me the interesting part was what Fred pointed out, which I caught too, that his party needs to adapt or make some changes on this.
He said their principles.
They're their principles. So that's interesting because I would say that they are. I guess he's wanting more. Is he wanting more radical?
He wants to take them further to the left. John Fetterman he would find unacceptable, for example, and a lot of what we would consider mainstream Democrats he would find unacceptable. He and the left wing, the so-called progressives in their party, they have a whole different vision for America. They want to turn America into they want to make New York. They want to make America New York City or California, basically.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
In this interview that Mamdani did on the weekend, he also talked about the demonstrations, the mob that has been outside this ICE detention center in New Jersey. All right? You've seen the crowds. You've seen the pictures there. I mean, and it's a mob. It's no peaceful demonstration at all. What's really interesting is that the claims have been made by the Democrats and their friends that the people being detained there, one of the things they said, they're starving. They're not getting proper food. Well, Border Czar Tom Homan, he was interviewed over the weekend. He said he went unannounced to this ICE facility in New Jersey. He went in there. They didn't know he was coming, but he arrives. And he arrives around mealtime. And he said he sat down because he was curious about this claim that these people are starving to death. They're getting terrible food.
Poisonous.
It's awful.
Poisonous. Oh, my word.
Here's what Tom Homan had to say in this interview, cut 10.
I went through every square foot of that facility. I went through the bathrooms. I went through the detention area. I went to indoor and outdoor recreation. As a matter of fact, outdoor recreation has kind of a state-of-the-art exercise equipment, which kind of shocked me. And I went into, I heard a lot of complaining about the food. I went there unannounced the following day, unannounced. I went there and had lunch. I sat in the cafeteria with detainees. Had the same meal they had. I had my security detail with me, of course, but I had the same tray of food they had because I looked around the room and saw they had the same tray. It was spaghetti and meat sauce. It was green beans. It was charro beans. It was rolls and butter. It was a fruit drink. It was dessert. I ate it. Now, is it a 5-star cuisine? No. But was a well-established meal? Yes, it was. Matter of fact, I didn't even finish it all, and I'm not a little guy.
And if you don't think that this mob is being organized from afar, there is a story on Fox News right now. I want to draw attention to it. The authorities had done some facial recognition of some of the people showing up there at Delaney Hall, creating this chaos. They're not from New Jersey. They're from Portland, Oregon. They're from Minnesota. This is what's going on.
From Alabama?
There is an organized effort out there to destabilize government operations right now. A few years ago, we had that word insurrection thrown around.
I
Remember that being thrown around? You don't think that this is insurrection being organized and funded by certain individuals. George Soros' name comes up a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, by the way, did you see where President Trump is going to the NBA Finals game in New York City? Did you guys see this?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? The NBA.
I do know what you're talking about.
The New York Knicks are hosting the San Antonio Spurs in Game 3 of the NBA Finals. I mean, this is for the championship of the NBA. This game won't decide it necessarily, but anyway, they're playing in Madison Square Garden, and a lot of people are upset with because when you bring a president to an event like this, I'm kind of surprised President Trump is going because the security at an event where there's 10, 12, 15,000 people in an arena that haven't been vetted other than maybe walking through I don't know where he's going to sit. Maybe he'll sit in I'm sure he's not going to sit courtside. He's probably going to sit in one of those luxury boxes at Madison Square Garden.
They have a glass window in front of him?
Well, yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Bulletproof.
But they'll probably put one, but it still presents. The problem is that when a president goes to an event like this, it creates a nightmare for the rest of the people. That's what I'm saying in terms of
parking.
Yeah, getting around. Can't go here. Can't go there. Secret Service here. You got to wait 30 minutes for his. Anyway, it wouldn't matter whether it was Trump or anybody else. It just creates a real problem. But anyway, he's going to be in attendance tonight at Madison Square Garden. We'll be back momentarily. Stay with us.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
It's been proven again and again and again.
Bert Harper.
The verification of the dates, the verification of the genealogies It puts spiritual iron in my spiritual blood to know that we can depend upon the Word of God.
Exploring the Word, weekday afternoons at 3 Central on American Family Radio. This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. Israel and Iran trading fire again overnight. President Trump posting to Truth Social this morning saying Israel and Iran must immediately stop shooting. Trey Yinks reports from Tel Aviv with the latest.
An eventful 24 hours across the Middle East. More explosions reported in the Iranian capital of Tehran as Israel goes on the offensive, responding to waves of ballistic missiles that were fired at this country overnight. This all started yesterday afternoon when the IDF struck the Lebanese capital of Beirut, hitting the Dakhya neighborhood, a Hezbollah stronghold. Iranian officials later threatened to target Israel and then launched waves of ballistic missiles toward the northern part of this country, sending hundreds of thousands of people into bomb shelters.
Violent riots continue outside the Delaney Detention Center in Newark, New Jersey, and at least one police officer was attacked. But New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani doubling down on spewing his anti-ICE rhetoric.
I have put forward a vision alongside so many others to say that ICE should be abolished. I think it's time to develop a new vision for this party, one that is unflinching in its beliefs and also uncompromising in its principles.
The rioters at Delaney Hall, most of them paid agitators from other states, according to Border Czar Tom Homan, are claiming the conditions in the detention facility are poor. But Homan says that's a lie.
I went through every square foot of that facility. I went through the bathrooms. I went through the detention area. I went to indoor and outdoor recreation. As a matter of fact, outdoor recreation has kind of a state-of-the-art exercise equipment, which kind of shocked me. And I went into, I heard a lot of complaining about the food. I went there unannounced the following day, unannounced. I went there and had lunch. I sat in the cafeteria with detainees. Had the same meal they had. I had my security detail with me, of course. But I had the same tray of food they had because I looked around the room and saw they had the same tray. It was spaghetti and meat sauce. It was green beans. It was charro beans. It was rolls and butter. It was a fruit drink. It was dessert. I ate it. Now, is it a 5-star cuisine? No. But was a well-established meal? Yes, it was. Matter of fact, I didn't even finish it all, and I'm not a little guy.
The Senate advancing a budget package last week that would fund immigration enforcement through 2029, sending the plan to the House. North Carolina Congressman Mark Harris accusing Democrats of obstructing President Trump's legislative priorities.
Not to put the resources, but rather play political games with law enforcement. That's something the Democrats are going to have to answer for this November. If I'm disappointed in anything, it's the fact that my colleagues in the other chamber have just dragged their feet so long, because this is a critical time in our country, and we need to make sure that we're backing law enforcement.
21 Christians were martyred in a single attack in Burkina Faso last month as radical Islamists continue to persecute the church in Africa and around the world. Steve Jordahl with more.
Islamists crossed the border from Mali into the Central African country of Burkina Faso last month and attacked Christians in the town of Gorom Gorom, according to Todd Nettleton of Voice of the Martyrs.
There was an attack on a village in Burkina Faso on May 11th that left 21 people dead. The first house targeted was the house of a Christian pastor.
He says they went next to the homes of 2 other Christians and killed the head of the household in each of those homes as well, before residents had a chance to fight back.
The villagers gathered to try to stop them, and they opened fire, and 18 more people were killed. So a total of 21 people killed in this attack in one night in one village in Burkina Faso.
Nettleton says the area is heavily Islamic, especially along that border with Mali, where there are Islamist groups that control territory and have weapons.
There are several groups that are active in that area, several that are affiliated with either Al-Qaeda or ISIS. So we assume Islamist terrorists.
He says the Burkina Faso believers are typical of persecuted Christians, putting the gospel before their very lives.
They know they're in danger, but they stay and they keep ministering in the church. They keep building the church, preaching the gospel, even evangelizing to lost people, even though they know that puts a target on them.
I'm Steve Jordahl.
There's more news at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Pugh.
AFA Action takes attacks on the family seriously. The enemies of the family constantly employ new tactics to try to sneak past our radar. They know if we stand together, their evil plans will fail. Your gift to AFA Action allows us to stay vigilant against their onslaught. And if you give this month, you'll receive access to the Cultural Institute video When Your Faith is Illegal by Frank Harbor on AFA Stream as our thanks. You can make your gift today at afaaction.net.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Tim, Wesley, Fred, and now Steve Paisley Jordahl joins us. Good morning, Steve.
Hey, everybody.
So, for people who follow college baseball, the College World Series field has been set. There are 8 teams, and the reason I bring this up, you know Alabama's in, right, Steve?
Roll Tide.
Because you're an Alabama fan now, right, Steve?
I am told I'm an
adopted.
Alabama.
You married into the
I
family.
married into the. That's right.
You explained that because you just said now as if he's just hopping from team
Well,
to team.
Steve hails from. He comes from California.
And I've been open about this. This is not a secret.
Okay, all
This
right.
is not.
So you're not telling this
No.
one? Okay.
No.
All right.
Steve grew up in California, and then lived in Colorado for a long time. And yes, there are some college sports out there, but that's mostly pro sport country.
Mm-hmm.
So then he moved to the South.
Married an Alabama
alum. He married an Alabama alum.
Okay.
That's the reason I bring this up.
Yeah.
So when she agreed to marry him, she said, as long as you become a
Roll Tide
fan,
Okay.
he said, I can do that.
I can do that.
So
For her,
yeah.
it's worth it.
So Alabama, better known for football.
Yeah.
But now they won their they're going to the College World Series
They
baseball,
are.
Steve.
They are. Yeah. Roll Tide again.
Along with let's see, Ole
I don't
Miss.
have the
Ole
name.
Miss made it.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Auburn. Texas made it.
Troy.
Troy's the underdog. The
That's
the
right, yeah,
underdog
yeah.
story everybody's cheering from. Troy.
They're the Indiana of baseball.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're from. For those who don't know, Troy is a university in South Alabama, southeast Alabama. Used to be called Troy State University. Are they still call that? Or they just call Troy.
Oh.
Okay, but they're the underdog invited to the party with the big dogs.
There you go. Someone for everybody else to root for, right?
That's right. And then we got North Carolina. They came back and beat USC yesterday. And then Oklahoma. Oklahoma beat Kansas. Georgia beat Mississippi State. And I cried.
Yeah.
Because that down went my school. So anyway, but College World Series is always a lot of fun and a lot of drama, and we will see what happens there. But I just want to bring it up because you'll be pulling for the Roll Tide, right?
I will be pulling for Roll Tide. Yeah.
All right, you're listening to today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. What's your first story, Steve?
May I just update everybody on what Heather and I did for the weekend? I want to have you guess. I'm going to play something. Heather and I went to a concert, and this is a little clip from the concert. See if you can tell who we went and saw.
All right.
Cut 16.
I don't know, the Gaithers?
The Gaither Vocal Band was in concert.
Oh, where?
In Muscle Shoals,
Was
Alabama.
that your recording?
Yeah.
Oh, just with your cell phone?
Just my cell phone, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, so the Gaither they're still out there, huh?
They are.
Are they in wheelchairs or?
Well, no, Bill is 90 years old, and but he's still doing it.
I'm just
still,
kidding.
yeah.
I'm just kidding. Kudos to a 90-year-old man who can go
Yeah.
out there and still sing.
Absolutely.
So he's 90, and but
great
the other boys they passed their AARP
No, he keeps rotating
Status.
younger men.
Does he?
To the quartet, yeah.
Is Mark Lowry still with him?
Mark is not singing with him currently, although he may be back.
What about the gentleman with the long gray
Nope,
hair?
He's not either.
What was his name?
His name is not coming up to me right
Guy
now. Guy Penrod.
Penrod
is not with them either. I could tell you.
They kicked them off? What happened?
Well, I think it's a rotating cast of thousands.
Oh, okay. But those guys they're not spring chickens themselves.
No, but they're all
so
really
so
good
tell me about
singers.
the concert. So is the
Great
Gaither
concert.
Vocal Band in concert
plus some guests
in Muscle Shoals?
In Muscle Shoals, Alabama,
Okay.
at a big, huge conservative Baptist church. I didn't know they had a CB church in Muscle Shoals, but
I
grew
tell you
up in
where
a CB
Bill
church.
Gaither hit the jackpot with those
Gloria.
videos.
Oh yeah,
well,
the homecoming.
yeah, but I'm talking about the homecoming videos.
Yeah, he's got another one coming out.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's surprising. But you remember those things? Remember that those things became popular? What, in the early 2000s or whatever? Just one. And I would like.
Describe that for me. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Homecoming videos.
Gaither Vocal Band. You've heard of them, right?
I have heard of
You've
them.
heard of them. They're I wouldn't call them strictly Southern gospel, but they're.
Bill Gaither is probably one of the most prolific songwriters, Christian songwriters of the last the century.
That's right. But he's got a men's gospel group, that quartet type music.
Okay.
And they are phenomenal and have been for years. And so they created a video series.
Okay. Like on.
And I think it was just a whim, an idea that somebody had. Hey, let's get all these people together in a room and sing. And they're all
all the old gospel singers that you grew up
So
hearing.
they put them all in a room, and they videotaped it. This is the first one. They videotaped it. I think they were just doing it for fun, just for their own enjoyment.
No long-term.
And then somebody said, "Wait a minute, I think we're on to something here."
Yeah.
And they began to offer them to the public, and they sold millions of homecoming Gaither Vocal Band homecoming videos. Some of them were live concerts, but a lot of them were sit around and sing and talk and tell stories. And it was just, you can read about it. The Gaither, what do you call it? The Gaither Homecoming
Vocal
Series?
Band, Gaither Homecoming. Yeah.
Video sales.
Yeah.
And I bet you Bill Gaither was tempted by wealth after that thing.
Maybe he was. I don't know. He's still going, though.
No, but I'm talking about, money. The
Yeah.
Bible says about rich people. You know what I'm saying? And
No, keep going. We don't know what you're saying.
okay. Well, it's actually not money's the root of all evil. It's that the love of money is the root of all evil. They say money can't buy you happiness, but I'd like to give it a shot. Okay.
There's always an exception to the rule, right?
I'd like to.
Maybe you are.
I'd like to try it and see if that's true. All right, what's your story now?
So I want to talk to you about the Democrat candidates. They have some crazy candidates.
Do we have to?
Well, starting with Graham Plattner in Maine, the Senate candidate, the Democrat candidate for senator in Maine, who is going to run against Susan Collins, who's a Republican in name only, according to a lot of...
She's a moderate Republican.
Very moderate Republican. But she's an East Coast Republican.
Yeah.
Anyway, this guy, Graham Plattner, has been just one distraction after another, after scandal after scandal after scandal, both his sexual life...
Are you sure we're not talking about Bill Clinton here?
Yeah. Well, they should have learned, but they didn't.
Okay.
And one of the things he... early in life, when he was in the military, got a tattoo. It's called a Totenkopf tattoo, and it's a Nazi symbol. And he knew, according to those who knew him back then, he knew it was a Nazi symbol, even though now he says he doesn't. So anyway, he's covered it up and everything with a different tattoo.
Excuse me, real quick. You're telling me the man is saying he didn't know what he was having tattooed on his chest?
That's what he's saying.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, but here's the thing. Democrats continue to support this guy. Scandal after scandal. I can't even talk about some of the scandals. They're so gross.
It's a team sport, politics.
Well, it is. And you have people like Ro Khanna and Mark Warner. They're still supporting him. I could play them, but they're just saying, yeah, well, we're not sure. We don't know enough about him. Oh, well, let's play cut 5. This is what Democrats are saying.
Misogynistic, they were shameful, they were wrong. He's talking about taxing billionaires. Susan Collins is for tax breaks to billionaires, and he's opposed to this foreign war where Susan Collins supported the war in Iran, and that's why I'm still supporting him.
I don't know Mr. Plattner. I've never met him. I would just say this. The allegations are made. I think you ought to have at least some attempt to prove whether they are, disprove them if that's the case.
What's your point of bringing this up?
Well, I want to go how deep this goes, because the question is, can someone this radical actually win in America? This is
in Maine. In Maine.
In Maine,
yeah.
Maybe. Well,
Maybe.
we're going to find out if they're going to have the same test in Texas in a second. But I just want to play this one thing. This is a lady, kind of a man on the street. This was at a rally, and they asked this regular voter if she supports Graham Plattner. What about the Nazi tattoo? And this is what she had to say, cut 18.
Totem Pope tattoo, the Nazi tattoo. How do you kind of... Somebody said that they talked to somebody who had seen one of those or wore one of those, and it was silver, and it didn't even occur to him that it was the same thing. I think people are making as much of it as they can because they don't have a lot of substance around anything else. And if they did, we'd hear about it, believe me. They are trolling for dirt. What if he has like a Israeli flag tattoo or something? Would that be a deal breaker? For me? Yeah. Honestly, yeah. That would be Israeli? Yeah, because I don't support genocide, and he doesn't either. And that would show that he was being inconsistent. And he's been very consistent about that.
Yeah.
Straight across the board.
We don't mind the Nazi tattoo, but the Israeli flag, we don't like genocide. The Nazi tattoo's okay, but we don't like genocide.
Yeah, she's a far lefty right there. But I think politics today, listen, we understand, Americans understand that when people run for office, they're not perfect people. And they've all got skeletons in their closet, just about everybody does. So I think everybody filters that out, considers that.
They seem to be, at least in Maine.
And there probably are things that disqualify somebody in the minds of people, but politics is a team sport today, and so you defend your guy and your team, and you ignore their blemishes, and you emphasize their positives. That's both sides do that. So
let me give you just one more example from Texas.
Okay, who we talking about?
This is a guy named Zul Mohammed.
Zul?
Zul.
I'm already out, but go ahead.
Okay.
Zul.
What's Zul Mohammed running for?
Zul is Pakistani, and he is now in the country, and he's running for mayor of Carrollton, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas. It's near Dallas.
Okay.
And he was asked about what he supports and doesn't support, cut 15.
Believe a guy who hates American veterans, who gave him the freedom to say what you're saying. No one gave me freedom. My parents are the only people that made sacrifice. No vet has made any sacrifice. I want to make that clear. I do not support the U.S. military. No, I do not support the United States. I look down on both entities. I want to make that clear. You don't vote? How do you feel about veterans? I don't support veterans.
So do you think he can win in Texas?
No.
I hope
not in Carrollton. In Carrollton, I don't know where he would. Maybe Austin. He might be able to win in Austin, but I just don't. This guy.
He's not running in Austin. He's just
so what was he? Is he a legit candidate, or is he a wackadoodle? He's both.
He is registered. Yeah. Obviously you can characterize.
He's a
his
wackadoodle.
politics,
yeah.
But he is a legitimate candidate. He is running for mayor.
He won the He's a Democrat nominee.
He is on the ballot. I don't know how
north
they
of
do.
Dallas.
What I'm saying is anybody can announce they're running for mayor, and has he won a primary, and is he the Democrat mayor?
That I'm not sure of.
Okay.
I have to check.
Fred, you haven't weighed in on. You agree with Lou?
It's interesting. Our first story today was about this poll about the growing number of people who live here who don't think America is very good anymore.
Right.
And it goes to this attitude. I mean, we've done stories over the last several, critical race theory and all these sorts of things. We have educators and others out there that are now trying to convince the American people that this is a bad country. And some of them are running for office.
Yeah.
Whether it's Plattner there in Maine or this guy in Carrollton, they don't like this country. But I guess what's shocking, guys, is they're getting elected.
Yeah.
Zoran Mamdani got elected.
Yeah. But still, consider it's New York City.
I know.
I mean, they're far left.
I know, but
they've always been blue. But they did have Michael Bloomberg.
Well, you got Tellerico though in Texas.
Yeah,
he's running as the Senate.
Yeah, but he doesn't present himself as far as a wackadoodle. He may be, but he doesn't come across that way publicly.
Yeah.
Talking about Tellerico. All right, you're listening to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Go ahead, Steve. What's your next story?
Just know we don't have to get into this too much if you don't want to, but it looks like that in Los Angeles, the Republican who was just about ready to win second place and be on the ballot is not going to.
The mayor's race in L.A.?
In L.A. This is
Spencer Pratt.
Spencer, I think his first name wasn't coming to you. Spencer Pratt has fallen behind the third place behind Nithya Raman. Now, only the top two make the November ballot, and so if it's two Democrats, that's what they're going to choose.
Raman's her name?
Raman is her name.
Like Ramen Wackadoodle?
Like the noodle.
I mean, Wackadoodle? Wackadoodle?
He was.
There
See what he did there?
I see what you did.
Ramen Wackadoodle.
You missed it the first try, but that.
Hey, go ahead.
Spencer Pratt was ahead by an insurmountable. He's going to overcome something that's never been done. He had an 8-point lead after they had counted a certain percentage of ballots, and all of a sudden, the ballot counting started going the other way.
What do you mean all of a sudden?
Well, I'm looking at a line graph.
You think he was cheated?
A lot of people think he was cheated.
Why'd he run?
Because he thought he might be able to get second place, and he was winning second place. So, yeah. Can he win first place? I don't know.
Well, no. Here's my thing. Karen Bass is the mayor of L.A., and she won first place. She's the current mayor, Democrat. Second place, because she didn't get over 50%. There's going to be There's going to be a two-person runoff,
Right.
and so that's what they're trying to determine. The problem is, you have mail-in votes out there in Los Angeles, and they give them. How long do they give them to come in?
I think they have 10 days after the election to get them in and everything. And there's a law out there that says they cannot check the signatures. They cannot.
What could go wrong there?
I know.
Let me ask you this. I know maybe none of us here on this panel, as distinguished as it is, knows the answer to this question. How is it that Florida, a state of 24 million people, I think it is, can have an election and have all the votes of the whole state of Florida counted by 10 p.m. on election night?
It's option A. They want to.
Yes.
But yet you have California, just a city mayoral race. I say just a city mayoral race. I mean, there's several
Compared to the state of Florida generally.
several million people that live in Los Angeles. I understand that. But you're going to go on for
week and a half,
2 weeks to decide to count. But this sounds so third world almost. Why is there a? If I were to ask Steve, maybe you don't know the answer to this. If I were to ask the leadership of Los Angeles, why do you do this instead of just having people come in and vote on election day and getting it over with? What would they say to me?
What would they say, or what's the real reason?
Both. Tell me both.
What they would say is that they want to make sure every vote is counted, and so they're being very careful in counting everyone by hand and putting them in the machine, and they just want to be extra careful.
I know you got something real quick, but Florida does that and does it.
Yeah.
And
you can vote by mail in Florida, or you can vote absentee in Florida. You just have to do it prior to the election day.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
It's not. I'm not the only one saying this, but the other answer is it takes a couple days to figure out how many votes you need to overcome if you're behind.
Okay. Now here's where I understand what you're saying, and I've been hearing this. You sound like you've been listening to President Trump a lot. But
I have 4 or 5 other people who are saying the same thing.
Let me just say this about that, and I know this may upset some people, so I'm going to tell you ahead of time. I don't like it when Republicans run for an office, lose, and then claim it was rigged against them.
Like Hillary Clinton did.
Oh, I see what you did there.
I'm sure he doesn't like that either.
I don't know if she used the word rig, but anyway, here's my point in that. If Spencer Pratt, the Republican nominee, and I give him kudos for running a good campaign. He got a lot of votes, but not near enough to win because Los Angeles is a lost cause. So I don't know why he ever thought he could win, but I guess every politician thinks they can win when they first start campaigning. But I would just say I don't like it when you run, Spencer Pratt knew ahead of time how the votes were going to be counted.
The rules.
He knew the rules.
Yeah.
So don't complain about the rules. I'm not saying he is.
I don't know if he is.
I don't know if. I'm just saying don't complain about the system and run a race and then say, well, I lost, therefore I was cheated. I don't think he said that necessarily. But some officials, some people do.
This is the only thing that he has said.
He said, Spencer Pratt, the guy, the Republican out there, said a net swing, 43,000 votes, Where have I seen that number before? Probably nothing.
It's 40. There are 43,000 homeless people that each got ballots as well.
Yeah, do you understand, Fred? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand. Kind of, it comes off as sore loser. I did hear one report from a guy who said his mom died 10 years ago, but she keeps showing up to vote.
Because she keeps getting that's what I'm saying. It's ripe for fraud. I'm not saying that it is. That system is terrible, in my opinion, to be able to count votes for 10 days after an election. Who's supervising this? How do you even know that the votes are real people that aren't dead?
That they are citizens.
That's what I was about to say.
What now?
Yeah.
How do you even know they're American citizens? Who verifies this?
Remember what Karen Bass said last week? We love all Angelinos. We don't care where they're from or how they got here.
Yeah. I just know that people in Los Angeles would, they would say we can't learn anything from Florida or certainly learn anything from somewhere like Mississippi.
Yeah.
But when we vote here in Mississippi, it's like many other states, people listening right now, you go in, the polling booth. You go into the polling desk. What's your name? Tim Wildmon. See your ID, please. Present my driver's license. They check me off as he has come and he has voted. Here's your ballot, sir. Right over there, you go over there and you mark your ballot. And right over there, you go over there and put it in the machine. See you later.
Yep.
Okay. So they know I'm a legitimate citizen. I'm registered. And so I'm eligible. So, and I've got my ID to prove who I am. I say who I am. Mm-hmm. So, how do you improve on that?
And if somebody were to pretend like they were you when you came in, and they would have already checked off the person that pretended, you could have said, "No, I haven't been in. No, I haven't."
Right.
But
you would find that out.
Yes.
I'm just saying. I just don't know. It seems to me when you get into all these mail-in votes for millions of people. And you can't even, and some of these places have same-day registration. That's just insane. Mm-hmm. How can you even verify the eligibility of a person if you're letting them vote register to vote the day of the election?
Yeah.
I just don't.
This is not
I think if people on the left can't understand the skepticism that people have of these kinds of processes like we're seeing in Los Angeles, I think they're just intentionally denying reality. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it.
There you go.
All right. Thank you, Steve.
My pleasure.
Thanks to Wesley and Fred and Brent Creeley, our producer. Cole Green, our video man. He's got a proper title, but I just call him Video Man. Is he a videographer? Is that what he would be? That would be okay. Anyway, who else? Alex McFarland was on with us. We hope you have a wonderful Monday afternoon and keep listening to American Family Radio. We shall, Lord willing, see you tomorrow.